going to start our study of chapter 3, section 3. And so it's section 3.3, and as always, we always start with our learning target. Our learning target for today is to use Venn diagrams to solve problems. Let's jump right into one of those problems. If we look at this one, we have 40 foreign exchange students total. 20 speak French, 23 speak Spanish, and 22 speak Italian. So let's draw an area here, and we'll say that this area represents all 40 of the foreign exchange students. This circle, we're going to say, are those that speak French. This circle are those that speak Spanish. And this circle represents those that speak Italian. As we go through this now, I'm going to put in the information that was given to us in the beginning here. We can see that there are 20 that speak French, 20 who speak French. All right, we have 23 who speak Spanish, and we have 22 who speak Italian. That's the grand total in each of those circles. We've got some overlap, of course, so let's start taking care of the overlap. We have 9 students that speak French and Spanish, so the area in common between the French and the Spanish is this region right here. If they only speak French and Spanish, and it says that there are 9 students who speak French and Spanish. So if I put 9 students right here, that means I have to reduce this from 20 down to 11. And I have to reduce this from 23 down to 14. The next bit of information that they give me is that 6 students speak French and Italian. So French and Italian, the common area there would be the part inside that circle. And they tell us, again, it was how many who spoke? 6 students who speak French and Italian. So there's 6 students that fall in that circle, which means I have to reduce this from 11 down to 5, and this from 22 down to 16. The next bit of information that they give me is that there are 10 students that speak Spanish and Italian, but not French. So Spanish and Italian, but not French, is that little portion of the circle. And it's 10 students, so I'll put 10 students in that square, but I have to reduce this down from 14 down to 4, and I have to reduce this from 16 down to 6. Only 4 students speak all 3 languages, so I'll put the 4 students in the center. So if there's 4 students there, that means that there's 1 student left here, there's no students left here, and there's 2 students left there. I'm going to do a little checking for each of the big circles here. I want to see if I've got the right total. So as I look at the black circle, which are only the French-speaking students, and the French-speaking students, if we remember right, there was 20 who spoke French, so I want to see if that's still what I have here. So I've got 9 plus 1 is 10, plus 6, 16, plus 4 is 20, so that checks out. How many Spanish-speaking students were there? There were 23. So I've got 0, 0, plus 10, plus 4 would be 14, plus 9 would be 23. So the total number of Spanish-speaking students is correct. And let's look then at Italian-speaking students. I've got 10, plus 4, plus 6 would be 20, and there's 2 left over. So all of my numbers check out. I've got all the numbers recorded here. The question asked me to use a Venn diagram to show how many exchange students do not speak any of the languages. Well, there's 40 total to start with, so how many students are represented in these squares? If I look at this, remember that there was, I can add up each of these numbers. So I'm going to start with 1 plus 9 plus 4 plus 6 plus 2 plus 10 plus 0, and we see what my total is. 9 plus 1 is 10, plus 4 would be 14, plus 6 would be 20, 22, 32. So I've got 32 students represented by this total. There were 40 to start with, so there must be 8 who don't speak any of those languages, speak some other language. Let's do a similar problem, but this one involves 30 students in Mr. Hall's gym class. Oops, sorry. 30 students in Mr. Hall's gym class. So the big square would start off with 30. 14 students play basketball. 9 students play soccer, and 11 students play volleyball. So I'm going to start here with a big circle that represents basketball, another circle that represents soccer. So this is soccer, this is basketball, and the last area was volleyball. Volleyball, V. All right, so how many students in each square? Well, there are 14 students that play basketball, so we'll put a 14 here. There are 9 students that play soccer, and there are 11 students who play volleyball. So that's our starting in each of the circles. Now I'm going to continue to further define that. 3 students play basketball and soccer. So the area that's common between basketball and soccer, I'll put the 3 in that area to represent those students. Of course, instead of being 14 now, this has to reduce to 11. And instead of being 9, this has to reduce to 6. There's 1 student who plays soccer and volleyball. So soccer and volleyball. There's 1 student. That's the area in common for those. So this drops to 5, and this drops to 10. And 6 students play basketball and volleyball. So the area that's for basketball and volleyball would be this area right in here. And there are 6 students in that. So again, this has to go down to 5. And this has to go down to 4. We've got 1 little area left, and that's the area that is where they play all 3 sports, and there's only 2 students that do that. So 2 students there, this becomes 3. 2 students there, this becomes 3. 2 students there, this becomes 2. I'm going to go through and check each of my areas to make sure I've got the right number. If I look, I've got 3 plus 3 plus 2 plus 6, 6, 7, 8, 14. Were there 14 original basketball players? Yes, there were, so that checks out. Soccer players, I've got 3 plus 2 plus 3 plus 1, 6, 7, 8, 9. Were there 9 soccer players to begin with? Yes, there were. And the last one is volleyball. I've got 1 plus 2 is 3 plus 6 is 9, plus 2 would be 11, and there were 11 volleyball players. So I've got my information coded correctly. The final question is, how many students in Mr. Hall's class do not play basketball, soccer, or volleyball? Well, there's 30 students to start with. I know I've got to add these up. I've got 3 students in that region. I've got 3 students in this region. I've got 2 here. I've got 6 here. I've got 3 here. I've got 1 right here. I've got the 2 right here. And I've got, that should be it. So I go 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 2 is 8, plus 6 is 14, plus 3 is 17, plus 1 is 18, plus 2 is 20. So there are 20 students total represented here. And remember that they started with 30, so there must be 10 students who did not play any of those sports. Thank you.